Welcome back to our CMA classes. So we are going to start our new chapter of assessment of non-resident. Okay, so let's go for it. So under section 6, residential status of individual is determined. First of all, we have to determine the individual is resident or non-resident. But why so? Because the income, globally income, which is earned by resident of India is taxable in which country? In resident country and in source country. Do you remember? It would be taxable twice. But what about the non-resident? In case of non-resident, the income which is actually earned from India is only taxable in India, not the income which he earned outside the India. Is it clear? So first of all, we have to identify the person is a resident of India or not resident of India. There are some conditions. If the individual is falling under that condition, then we will say that the person is a resident of India. So let's find out what are the conditions. Resident of India, if he satisfy any of one basic condition, then he'll be known as resident of India. But what are that condition? We have to identify what are those conditions. Okay, the condition says that if has, I have quoted in a question form, has he stayed in India for at least 60 days in the relevant previous year? Has he stayed in India for at least 60 days in relevant previous year? If yes, but there is also one more condition added in this condition which says that plus 365 or more during the 4 previous year. If he had stayed for at least 60 days in India, with that he have stayed more than 365 days during the 4 preceding previous year, then he will be resident of India. This was one of the condition, right? What about the second? If he has he stayed in India for more than 182 days in the relevant previous year, which means this is also saying if the person stayed more than 182 days in the relevant previous year, in that case he would be known as resident of India, right? If any of two condition is satisfied, if one condition is satisfied, any of these two, one condition is satisfied, then in that case he would be known as resident of India. Is this clear? Again, let's go for it. The condition. The person would be resident if he satisfy any of the one condition. One of the basic condition. Basic condition says that if he stayed for at least 60 days in the previous year, plus he have stayed more than 365 days during the 4 preceding previous years, right? This is one of the condition. And the second condition says that if he have stayed more than 182 days in the relevant previous year, okay, then he will be known as resident of India. Okay, but what about the non-resident, right? If he has not satisfied any of the basic condition, which is basic condition? These two are the basic condition. Is this clear? If the individual satisfy any of these two conditions, then that person is going to be the resident of India. And if the person is resident of India, then what is going to happen? The income which he have earned globally, he have to pay twice tax, where he have earned the income and where he is a resident of that country, right? Is it clear? Hope this part was clear. Now let's go for some other condition where we are going for which condition? This is saying that for some basic condition we have to go for only one condition. Which condition? Among these two, there is only one condition we have to follow for those. Now let's go for what are the cases. Okay, if has he left India during the relevant previous year for the employment? If the individual have left India for what purpose? For either employment purpose or business purpose, right? If he have left India for what purpose? Either for employment purpose or for business purpose. Then we are going for which condition? We will go for only this condition. These people are not having two conditions, right? Earlier what we said, that individual if satisfying any of the basic condition, right? These three people are not having two conditions, two basic condition. They are only having one condition, and that is this 182 days, more than 182 days in the relevant previous year, right? If a person left India, okay, for during the relevant previous year, for what purpose? For either employment purpose or for the business, okay. In that case, the basic condition would be of more than 182 days in the relevant previous year. He should stay in that part. Is it clear? Hope this part was clear. Okay. Second condition is he a crew member of Indian ship? If he is a crew member of Indian ship, again the basic condition would be of this. If he have stayed more than 182 days, in the relevant previous year, then only he'll be resident of India, okay. If the individual left India and he is crew member of Indian ship, we are talking about India, okay. So we are going to take only Indian ship, okay. If a person left India or he is a crew member of Indian ship, in that case we are going to take which basic condition? The second one, right? This part, which is more than 182 days in the relevant previous year. Is it clear? Yes, this part was clear. Now the third case says about is he a Indian citizen? Or a person of Indian origin visiting India during the relevant previous year? If he is an Indian citizen or a person who is having Indian origin, he is visiting India during the relevant previous year. For this case also we are going to take which basic condition? We are going to take this basic condition, okay. Let's say it again. Let's divide three conditions. If a person leave India for what purpose? Employment purpose, right? Or business purpose, right? Second case of if a person is crew member of Indian ship. Okay, again one basic condition is there, right? Third, if a person is of which origin? Indian origin, right? Indian citizen or a person is of Indian origin. In that case, and the person is visiting India, is not living there, is just visiting India, okay. And these three people will be resident only if they have stayed more than 182 days in the relevant previous year. Then only they will be resident of India. Is it clear? Hope this part was clear. Let's go to the other part. Now comes the other thing. We know about the resident person, right? Resident individual and non-resident individual. Now we have to know about resident. Just a second. Resident or ordinary resident, and resident but not ordinary resident. Again, if the person is resident, once a person would be resident, once he have followed or he have satisfied any of one basic condition, right? We know basic condition now, okay. For three other cases, they only one basic condition. This is also cleared. But now the things come like, what is this non-resident and ordinary resident, and ordinary resident, and resident but not an ordinary resident, okay. Now I have to understand this. If a person is a resident, definitely this is going to be for only resident now. Once he's fulfilled the condition of being a resident, then only this part is going to apply, right? Which part? ROR, resident and ordinary resident. RNOR, resident but not ordinary resident. Okay. So let's go for it now, guys. They are saying the person is resident and ordinary resident would be those who have satisfied both additional condition, right? Earlier what we read, that only one basic condition is to be satisfied by resident people, right? Resident individual have to only satisfy one basic condition, right? But in this case, for ROR, two of the additional condition is to be satisfied. And what is now this additional condition? Additional condition says that the person, he must be a resident of India. Okay, yes, what I said. For these two conditions, for R, OR and for R, NOR, the person should be resident, right? First of all, he have to be resident, right? What I told you earlier was this. Okay, he must be resident of India for at least, now for how many years? Now for how many years? For at least 2 years. At least 2 years. Are we going to count this 2 year in the previous year? Are they talking about the relevant previous year? No, they are talking about the at least for 2 year during 10 preceding previous year, right? Again, if we are taking about if we are saying about previous year 1890, okay, if we are going for residentialship of an individual for 1819, then we have to take the 1819 would be your relevant previous year, right? But the preceding, we are talking about now preceding. Okay, so he must be resident of India for at least 2 years. Okay, for at least 2 years during 10 preceding previous year. Hope this part was clear. Okay, now second condition says that he must stay in India. He must stay in India for at least 730 days. Okay, during 7 preceding previous year, right? Earlier about told that first of all he have to be resident. For R, O, R, he have to be resident. Okay, and they are again saying at least 2 years. They have to, the individual have to stay for 2 years, at least 2 years out of 10 preceding previous year. PPY. Let's take it PPY. Okay. Now this was the one of the additional condition. What about the second? He have to stay. He must stay in India for how many days? For at least 780 days. For at least 780 days during 7 preceding previous year. PPY. For at least 7 preceding previous year, right? First condition was of at least 2 years, right? Out of 10 preceding, right? Previous year. Second is of 7 out of 730 days of 7 preceding previous year. Okay, hope this part was clear, right? So if the person, once the resident is following these two condition, then the person is going to be ROR, resident and ordinary resident. Okay, resident and ordinary resident. Okay, but what about NOR, resident but not ordinary resident? If the person is not satisfying both of the additional condition, right, then the person would be RNOR. Is it clear? First of all, there are some basic condition for the person to identify the individual residentialship, right? Either the person is satisfying any of these two condition, what basic condition, right? Then they would be resident of India. Okay. But what about if we have to identify the person is ROR or RNOR, right? For that, the person have to satisfy 2 of the additional conditions, right? 2 of the additional condition. There is no option is given to the resident person. Okay, they have to follow they have to satisfy 2 of the condition, additional condition. Then only they will be ROR, otherwise they will be RNOR. Is it clear? Hope this part was clear. Okay, now there is some special provision. Okay, there are some special provision. Let's go for it now. Is his total income other than income from foreign source, right? Which means in simple language they are saying that if the person is earning income from India, right, when we are not taking that income which is from outside India, which is foreign income, right? So if the person is what? If his total income from India is more than 15 lakh in the previous year, then he would be RNOR. First of all, for RNOR, the resident have to at least total income, they should have total income which is more than 15 lakh, Okay, is this part clear? Hope this part was clear to you. Now let's go for the condition. What are they saying? They would be known as RNOR. Okay, but when, if an Indian citizen or a person of India origin visiting India during the relevant previous year, we are talking about the third case. Right now we are talking about the third case. Remember? Okay, if the Indian origin person or a Indian citizen who is visiting during relevant previous year, if he stays in India for at least 120 days during relevant previous year, for at least 20 days during relevant previous year, and 365 days or more, 365 days or more during the 4 preceding year. Okay, let me make it more simpler. This part is similar to which condition? Let's go and check out this part, right? They have just taken 120 days here. Let's check it now. Okay, is this clear? Just they have taken this 120 days instead of 60 days. Okay, so if a resident person, right, he stays in India, which resident person? Third case, remember third case, the Indian citizen or the person who is having Indian origin, okay, visiting India, right, in during the relevant previous year, and if he would be known as, he would be RNOR. Once, first of all, first condition was of if his total income from India is more than 15 lakh, and if other condition is satisfied, they would be RNOR, right? This other condition says that if he stayed for India for at least 120 days, we are not taking as 60 days here, we are taking 120 days, right, during the relevant previous year. Is it clear? Yes. And 365 days or more during the 4 preceding previous year, 4 PPY. Is it clear? Hope this part was clear. Okay. So if a person, third case, let's take out third case. If a person is of Indian citizen, or is having Indian origin, he is visiting India for what? He is just visiting India, right? He is visiting India during the relevant previous year. He would be RNOR. But once he have the total income from India which is exceeding 15 lakh, right, and if he is satisfying the condition, that he is staying in India for at least 120 days in the relevant previous year, plus right, plus what, 365 days in or more during 4 preceding previous year. Hope this part was clear. Now let's go for the second condition. This part was clear. Hope this part was clear. Now let's jump into the second condition, which is for Indian citizen. If the Indian citizen having income from Indian source which exceeds 15 lakh in the previous year, deemed to be RNOR. Okay, RNOR. But there is one condition, they would be RNOR only if he is not liable to pay tax in other country, which means tax haven country, right, or the countries where there is no taxability apply, right. So if the person is not paying tax in that foreign country, this condition is going to be applied in that case only. Okay, but what if the person already paid tax on other country? In that case, this condition is not going to apply. Simple. Okay? If the Indian citizen having income from Indian source, right, and which exceeds how much amount? 15 lakh. In that case he would be RNOR, but for that he have to fulfill which condition? 120 days, 365, 4 PPY. Is it clear? Hope this part was clear. Let's go for the second. Remember about the crew member of Indian ship, right? For these 3 conditions, remember we have to follow only one basic condition, Hannah. They were not having the option, right, which was more than 182 days. Remember? So let's go for it again. If a person is crew member of Indian ship, then from date enter into CDC, continuous discharge certificate at the time of joining the ship. At the time of joining the ship. To date, enter into CDC, which is continuous discharge certificate, at the time of sign off, which means I have to take these 2 days, which is joining the ship and signing off, the time of joining the ship and the time of signing off, right? So let's take out this thing that from the joining to sign off will be considered as outside India. So in this case, I read that what I said, ki the date which he joined, the crew member of Indian ship, the person who is crew member of Indian ship, right? For his residential ship, we will take what date? From the date of joining and to the date of sign off. Okay, this date will be considered as the person was outside India. Okay, for the residential ship, we are going to exclude these days. Okay, from the date of joining to date of sign off, which is to be mentioned in continuous discharge certificate. Is this part clear? Hope this part was clear. Okay, now let's go for what are the some other things which is written here. If a person stay in India, includes stay in territorial water of India up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline. The person would also be, means for the identify the residential ship of an individual, we are also going to take the person if he is staying territorial of waters of India, territorial water of India. Now what is this? Territorial water is up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline. Okay, from the baseline of India, we are going to take the 12 nautical miles. Okay, that would be territorial water of India. And if a person is staying in any of the area of territorial water of India, that would also count in the residential ship. Okay, now for considering stay in India, date of departure and date of arrival, consider to be in India. Now don't get confused between this part and this part. We can simply say that for the crew member in India, crew member of Indian ship, right? This condition is only applied in case of for the crew member of Indian ship. Which condition? The date of joining of CDC to date of sign off, the time. Okay, we are going to consider them as the person, the crew member of India would be considered as outside during this time period. Okay, hope this part was clear to you. Okay, let's go for the other thing, which is saying for considering stay in India, date of departure and arrival would be considered, but not in case of crew member, right? In case of crew member, we will exclude, in simply say we will exclude the date of joining to signing off. Okay, the days which is between these, okay, from joining to sign off of CDC, we are going to exclude them from residential ship. Okay, hope this part was clear to you. What we have done in this session, we have identified the person is resident or non-resident. For that, the individual have to satisfy any of the basic condition, remember, and for ROR, the resident have to satisfy both of the additional condition, right? But there are some cases where only one basic condition is given. Okay, and they are what? If the person left India for during the relevant previous year for either employment purpose or for business purpose. Okay, second was of a crew member of the Indian ship. Okay, and third was of Indian citizen or origin of India. For these 3 cases, we are going to take the basic condition, only one basic condition, which would be more than 180 days in the relevant previous year. Hope this part was clear to you. Additional condition was saying 2 years out of 10 preceding previous year and 730 days out of 7 preceding previous year. Okay, so that's it for today's class, guys. Hope this part was clear to you. Till then, we'll meet in our next session. This is Soumya Santosh. Toodles, guys.